Good morning. It is 9 o'clock on your Tuesday. I'm traffic anchor Brianna Albizu. We are coming to you and continuing our coverage on streaming right now because we are noticing a really big crash for folks over on the west side. I want to break it all down for you this morning because it will definitely impact your early morning commute again on this Tuesday. So all this is happening on 70 eastbound, as you can see with our traffic graphic here, past Hilliard Rome Road, and right before that 270 intersection. You can notice a lot of different colors on our screen here. Purple, the main one, what we're noticing right now, that means closures. So all lanes closed, 70 in that eastbound direction. Once again, past Hilliard Rome Road. I want to give you a live look at the scene to show you exactly what we're looking at here. So again, 70 at Hilliard Rome Road, you can see major impacts, both that eastbound direction, where you can notice on the left portion of your screen completely closed off, as I mentioned here. That's where two semis collided just past 7 o'clock this morning. As you can see, still a very heavy police presence out there. We got cops, we have first responders, lots of fire trucks on scene here. Now, what we know from officials right now is that, again, two semis were involved. Just happened just past 7 o'clock this morning. One of them was carrying car batteries that ended up leaking because of this crash. We're also mixing it in some diesel fuel that was leaking as well with this collision here. So things just became very chaotic very soon here. We also know that it is a level 1 hazmat situation going on. So it is a minimal risk right now. But again, we still have a lot of people still on scene. It will take crews a couple of hours at least to clean up the situation. They are calling this a long-term closure when it comes to this road. Again, 70 eastbound in this direction, you cannot get through this morning. We also know right now that one person was taken to the hospital. We are not sure about their condition this morning. Of course, we'll give you updates with the very latest when it comes to that. But again, as you can see with these closures here, it will definitely impact your early morning commute. As I mentioned, the left side of your screen is at 70 eastbound where that crash happened, but look at 70 over on the right side of your screen, that westbound direction. We have some lane closures out there because what they're doing is that people that are stuck in this eastbound crash, they're getting people off and diverting them through the median and back onto 70 in that westbound direction. So again, we're noticing some construction and basically some congestion, I want to say, in this area all around westbound and eastbound this morning. So not looking too good right now. As for these closures, again, 70 eastbound, this is the main concern we have. It's going from 70 and 270, that intersection, all the way eastbound and westbound, I want to say, towards that State Route 142 area. That's just north of West Jefferson. So we're talking miles and miles of this big closure, this big stretch, as you can see here with our time saver traffic graphic. That's what we're noticing, this big closure here. They are getting people off of State Route 142 and having you take other areas when it comes to this detour, because that big portion will be closed for a few hours this morning. So what does this mean when it comes to your detour? I know 70, a lot of people take this heading towards the city every day, especially this morning. So of course it's impacting your drive times. You want to make sure you get to where you need to go to safely and hopefully on time. So as you can see here, a detour, the main one we have going for you is basically hopping off 70 eastbound, of course, taking State Route 142 southbound instead over to Broad Street. That will take you then to 270 northbound and even to 70 eastbound, depending on where you want to go this morning. But again, Broad Street will be your best friend right now for your Tuesday commute. As I mentioned, 70 eastbound by Hilliard Rome Road will be closed for a few hours after a level 1 hazmat situation. Two semis involved right now. So obviously a very developing situation, which is why we are still going live on streaming. Of course, we'll have much more details. We are working with officials, looking to get the very latest information when it comes to this crash. But once again, this will be closed for a few hours at least. Stay with 10 TV for the very latest. Of course, we'll have another check-in in about 10 to 15 minutes or so. Good Tuesday morning to you. About 9:15 this hour. I am traffic anchor Brianna Albizu. We are live still on streaming right now because we are still following up on a really big crash happening over on the west side. So we do have a live look at the scene right now. This is happening again over on the west side, 70 eastbound, just before that 270 intersection here. We have a live look at the scene thanks to our photographer Carl out there. We really appreciate him this morning. As you can see, it's involving two semis right now with this crash. One of them was carrying car batteries, according to officials, that ended up leaking after the collision here with those two semis. So we have a level 1 hazmat situation, which means it's a minimum risk right here. Level 1, as I mentioned here, but a very big, heavy police presence here. We're noticing fire trucks, first responders. You can see parts of that semi completely mangled this morning. Again, that entire stretch of 70 eastbound completely closed this morning. Once again, after two semis crashed at about 7 o'clock, just past 7 o'clock this morning on this Tuesday commute. Of course, a lot of people are heading out the door when it comes to usually around that time. So it's just really been impacting a lot of people for their early morning Tuesday commute there. I do want to show you again with our time saver traffic graphic here, what exactly we're all noticing here. So as I mentioned, this is 70 eastbound, just past Hilliard Rome Road where all this is happening. All lanes completely closed. That's where we're noticing a lot of this purple. That's what that means for us over here with our time saver traffic. Purple is meaning these closures, and it's really extended all the way out there. So I want to show you what we're talking about. Once again, 70, that 270 intersection, all the way westbound to that State Route 142 intersection here on 70 eastbound. So that's over by that Northwest Jefferson area. Of course, that's that ongoing construction site, an already busy area, but this is the big portion we're talking about. 0 miles per hour for your drive time. That just means no one is able to be there. It is completely restricted this morning. So I do want to show you some ODOT cameras to show you exactly what it's looking like when it comes to basically this diversion. As I mentioned, this is 70 eastbound. This stretch we're noticing here completely closed off. Again, no cars on the roads right now. You can barely see it, but over to the top left corner, that's where a lot of people are being able to get off the roads here. Everyone that's involved in heading towards 70 eastbound right now is being diverted off to Hilliard Rome Road instead. As I mentioned, though, we have some ongoing construction out here too, so it's a very, very busy stretch that we're still noticing these big impacts when it comes to your early morning commutes. Detours are going to be really huge when it comes to this crash because crew members and first responders are telling us that it's going to be a long-term closure, which means they will be on scene for at least a few hours this morning as they work to clean up the entire situation. Detours like this will be key here. So if you're taking 70 eastbound, approaching the city this morning, you'll definitely want to hop off here. As I mentioned, State Route 142 is where we're noticing cops there getting people off that main interstate. You're going to take 142 southbound instead, head towards south there to Broad Street. That will be your best alternate route this morning. Continue Broad Street all the way eastbound through Prairie Township, as you can notice here. That will get you to 270. From there, you can go to 270 northbound, or you can go to 270 southbound, or really, if you want to just head towards the downtown scene, you can continue on Broad Street all the way to where you need to go this morning. But again, impacts are really big this morning. I want to give you another live look at the scene because it's not looking good this morning. Once again, 70 eastbound at Hilliard Rome Road over by that 270 intersection. It is not looking good. Another live look at the scene thanks to our photographer Carl for this. As you mentioned here, it is a very, very active police presence here. Still noticing cop cars on scene. One of the semis involved. It takes crews a lot longer to clean up situations and crashes like this, especially when it involves two semis and especially when it involves leaked car batteries in the area. Of course, we will be following the situation all morning long for you here and give you the very latest details. Stick with us here. We'll check back in again in about 10 minutes or so. Good Tuesday morning to you, 9:30 this hour. I'm traffic anchor Brianna Albizu. We are still continuing our streaming coverage right now because we are still, folks, following a really big crash over on the west side. Here is a look at basically what we're noticing with our time saver traffic map. This crash is happening on 70 eastbound just past Hilliard to Rome Road. All lanes completely closed there. I know we got a couple colors on our time saver traffic map. We want to focus in on the purple. That's what's indicating this major road closure this morning. Again, all lanes are closed 70 eastbound in that direction. So if you're heading into the city, that's going to be a little bit harder this morning if you're coming in over on the west side. Right now, we do have a live look at the scene I want to bring up here. Thanks to our photographer Carl for getting this for us this morning. This is what we're noticing here. As you can see, again, that big portion of 70 eastbound is completely closed this morning. We have a couple of first responders still on scene, and they will be on scene for a few hours at least this morning. Officials telling us this is a long-term closure. So we have a couple things involved here, as well as some semis. That is the main thing. We have two semis that collided just after 7 o'clock this morning. You can see a portion of it still on the scene right now, as well as a couple of crew members out there working to clean up the scene. So officials are telling us once again that after 7 o'clock this morning, we had two semis that collided there. One of them was carrying car batteries and ended up leaking onto the roadway here. So already a very concerning situation there. We also know that with this collision, we had some diesel fuel that ended up leaking on the roadway as well. So that's why we have a lot of first responders still on scene this Tuesday morning. They're calling this a Hazmat 1 level situation. That means it is a minimum risk, but we still have that risk in place here. We're also noticing some new reports here that folks in the area, of course, is impacting a lot of travelers and drivers this morning. They're noticing a very distinct smell in the area. They're saying it's not a great smell, of course, probably with this battery leakage going on. So I just want to be mindful of that here. Right now, we know that one person was taken to the hospital. We're not sure about their condition right now, but again, a very active situation, as you can see right here. So I want to show you kind of what we're looking like when it comes to this basically road closure here. We're noticing it a big portion of 70 eastbound. As you can see, it's basically from 70 and 270, that intersection, all the way westbound towards West Jefferson and State Route 142. As you may know, that's that ongoing construction site that we always talk about there. We're down to 2 lanes out there, so it's already a busy area, but mixed in with this big crash we got going on. Again, this big portion is closed right now, and it's causing a lot of chaos on the roads this morning for drivers. Now, speaking of State Route 142, we know that checking in on traffic cams out there, it looks like we do have police officers on scene. They are diverting people taking off of 70 eastbound. They want you to take State Route 142 instead. Again, that big portion is still closed this morning, will be for a few hours. So do note that. That's actually going to be your main concern when it comes to this detail. We'll show you that in just a second here. But again, a live look at the scene, 70 at 270 over on the west side. Over to the left of your screen, you can see that 70 eastbound direction. That's where we're noticing those semis still involved this morning. As I mentioned, still cop cars, first responders, fire trucks, everyone's still on scene this morning. As you can see on the right side, though, this is 70 westbound. So we're noticing some congestion out there, and that's because basically about less than 30 minutes or so, we had some traffic cones in that area. Of course, that was to help people that were behind these two semis and just were caught up in this entire crash here. They were getting people diverted off to 70 eastbound, using that median and going back onto that 70 westbound direction. Because of that, they had that lane closure there. So just noticing some more backups as they work to clean up the scene. As you can see, both that 70 eastbound and that 70 westbound direction, both of them being impacted for this Tuesday morning commute here. So when it comes to that detour, as I mentioned, I want to make sure you note this here. This is a big portion of what you'll want to know for your morning here. So 70 eastbound, you can continue that over there, but you will have to get off once again at State Route 142 southbound. Continue it there to Broad Street. That will be your best way to go to this morning, especially if you're still wanting to head downtown. Take Broad Street, as you can see, 40. That will get you through Prairie Township. And then that will eventually get you to 270. You can take that northbound, depending on where you're coming from or where you're wanting to go. You can also take 270 southbound, or even if you want to just take Broad Street all the way downtown, you can do that as well. As I mentioned, that will be your best alternate route when it comes to this. Crew members still on scene, as we were looking at with traffic cams this morning. They will be on scene for a few hours at least as they work to clean up the situation. Still, updates very far and few and in between right now, but of course we will give you the very latest details the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. Stay with 10 TV for the very latest. Good morning and welcome to your Tuesday, 9:45 this hour. I'm traffic anchor Brianna Albizu. We are still closely monitoring a crash for folks over on the west side. I do want to start with a live look at our time saver traffic graphic here. So as we're noticing here, this is a big crash that we've been following basically all morning long for our Tuesday. This is all happening on 70 eastbound just past Hilliard to Rome Road. All lanes still closed this morning after two semis collided just after 7 o'clock this morning. As you can see, once again, we're noticing some purple hues on our time saver traffic map. That is indicating these road closures, these lane restrictions. People are not able to get through, especially over by that 270 and 70 intersection, which a lot of people actually take heading into work and different parts of their commute this morning. So we want to make sure you note that, again, 70, that big portion is completely closed this hour. And it's so big, I want to show you basically what we're noticing when it comes to this portion closure. Once again, we're noticing 70, 270, that intersection. We're noticing that portion all the way closed out there just over by West Jefferson, north of West Jefferson, actually, but that State Route 142 area. That's that big portion of 71 or 70, I want to say, that is completely closed off because of these semis. So what we know so far from officials, two semis crashed just after 7 o'clock this morning. One of them was carrying car batteries that ended up leaking onto the road. We also had diesel fuel that ended up leaking as well, so that was a bad combo there. We have a lot of first responders still on scene. The semis still involved out there, so this will be a little bit, a few hours at least, for crew members to clean up the situation there and get the road back up and moving this morning. We also know that one person was taken to the hospital. Not sure about their condition right now, but again, it's a very big portion of the stretch here that's causing some major impacts when it comes to an early morning Tuesday commute for you. It is not looking good, folks. So I wish I had some better news for you, but again, we are closely monitoring the situation, and I want to make sure I show you exactly what we're noticing out here. Another big update we have for you is, of course, we have some big portions, again, 70 eastbound. That's our main concern right now. But 70 westbound, we're also noticing now a new crash. So this is, again, just not a good area over on the west side, 70 in general. So this crash happening not too long ago, 70 westbound, just past Hilliard Rome Road again. The right lane is currently blocked out there. So again, that's what we're noticing, a lot of these different hues. There's some reds and oranges and yellows, just indicating a lot more of those backups, not just over on the east side, but now over on the westbound portion here. So I do have a live look at the scene. I want to show you exactly what we're noticing out here. This one in particular is 70 at Hilliard Rome Road. So those of folks that are involved in this incident, they're being diverted off to Hilliard Rome Road, that major crash with the semis. So we have a couple of people, looks like a couple of first responders and cops looks to have pulled this person over. Not sure exactly what happened here, but this is Hilliard Rome Road, a very busy area in general here. They have been moving the camera all morning long this morning, so do note that. But again, a lot of traffic going on in this particular area. Once again, adding on to that crash on 70 westbound, this is just not a way in an area to be this morning. So I want to show you that here. When it comes to this detour, we're going to have something really big and it's going to be key. Broad Street will be your best friend this morning. Obviously, you want to hop off 70 eastbound in that direction. We do have a cops there on scene on that 70 eastbound right at State Route 142. They are diverting people off of 70 eastbound particularly, so you want to continue to follow that route. Take 142 southbound over to Broad Street. You want to continue in that way over towards the eastbound direction. That means you're going to go through Prairie Township and go to 270. You can take that 270 northbound, southbound, depending on where you want to go to. You can even take that towards 70 eastbound if you want to as well, or really you can continue on that Broad Street area all the way downtown. You can notice here another big update here. We have some congestion over here on Broad Street. Again, a lot of people using this alternate route. That is some good news there, but definitely want to make sure to pack the patience. Your early morning commute is definitely looking a little different compared to other days out there, again, over on the west side. So do note that here, Broad Street will definitely be your best friend here. As I mentioned, this is a long-term closure, as officials were telling us, so they will be on scene for a few hours here. Of course, we'll give you much more details and much more updates throughout the morning. Good Tuesday morning to you. 10 o'clock on this Tuesday here. We are still following up on a really big crash for folks over on the west side. It is not looking good this morning, and I want to show you some live looks of what we're noticing out here. It looks like our traffic cam just went out this morning, so I'm going to change it as we talk about what really is just going on right now. A pretty big scene after two semis collided just after 7 o'clock this morning. As I mentioned, I do want to give you some live looks here of what we're noticing. So this is all happening 70 eastbound in that direction over by Hilliard Rome Road this morning. Looks like, again, unfortunately, it looks like our server just went down as we continue our streaming this morning. So let's go to some graphics as we can just keep talking about what we're noticing once again over on the west side. So a portion of 70 eastbound is currently closed right now. Once again, just past Hilliard to Rome Road, all lanes completely closed this morning. That's where you're noticing a lot of this purple action going on here. That just shows you that lanes are completely restricted. No one is able to get through and by that area. As you can also notice here, this is 70 and 270 right before that intersection. An already busy interstate to begin with, especially if you're taking this for an early morning commute. I also know we have a lot of people over on the west side that like to travel from this area into the downtown scene. It's just very difficult this morning, unfortunately. So as I mentioned, when it comes to this, two semis were involved, according to officials. This all happened just after 7 o'clock this morning. One of them was carrying car batteries in the back of their trailer. What happened there is when they crashed, the car batteries ended up leaking out onto the roadway there. We're also noticing diesel fuel that leaked out as well with the collision with these two semis involved. So it was a very big level 1 hazmat situation, a minimal risk, as I mentioned here, so not too much in terms of safety wise. But again, we have first responders, crew members. They were still on scene and still are on scene this morning because they just want to make sure everything is cleaned up and is very safe for folks in the area. As I mentioned about 10 minutes ago, as we continue our streaming platform, is that we had a couple people already reporting to the newsroom that just the smell of the leaked batteries and the collision out there is just really strong that morning, or this morning, I really want to say. So do be mindful if you're in that area of just not only the impact when it comes to your drive times and maybe even the smell of what we're noticing out there with this crash. So we also know that one person has been hospitalized because of this crash. Not sure about their condition this morning. Hopefully everything is okay though. Let's give you a broader look at what we're noticing when it comes to this crash. So we're noticing here basically that 7270 intersection all the way over to north of West Jefferson. This is State Route 142. That's where this big portion of 70 eastbound is closed right now, has been closed for at least 3 hours or so, maybe more, and will continue to do so as well. Again, this is a big scene involving two semis. It usually takes a little bit here. Add on the mix of some leaked car batteries. It's going to be quite a while for folks to get back onto that 70 eastbound portion here. A good detour to keep in mind is definitely taking Broad Street. We know a couple people already are, as you can see with our time safer traffic map. If you're going through Prairie Township, you can see a lot of those red hues. That just means a lot more cars on the roads, those backups, those slowdowns. So definitely note that there. Pack the patience this morning. Just be very mindful of other cars on the roads. They're trying to get to where you're going to this morning, and unfortunately, this will be the best route. So as I mentioned, hop off of 70 eastbound, take 142 southbound instead to Broad Street. That will get you to 270, either a northbound or a southbound direction. You can take that towards 70 eastbound, or you can continue over to Broad Street, continue it through the downtown scene. Lastly, before we go, I do have another update for you. We are noticing a crash in this area as well, not on eastbound, but on the westbound section, just past Hilliard Rome Road as well. So just an already busy area. I definitely want to try and avoid if you can. As I mentioned, this is a very busy interstate though. A lot of people can't avoid it really. Again, we are noticing a crash 70 westbound. Happened not too long ago, just past Hilliard Rome Road, right lane blocked out there. So we're noticing some red hues and congestion in that neck of the woods. Just a very busy and messy situation for folks out there. Still an ongoing situation as well too. So of course, be sure to follow us for the very latest information. Lastly, I do want to try and look at some traffic cams. Looks like they are still down this morning. We will work on that as we continue to work on these closures, these detours, and more details involving this crash. Stay with us here on 10 TV. really 10:15 on this Tuesday morning. I'm Brianna Albizu. We are still closely monitoring this crash happening over on the west side. It has definitely been a busy look at your commute this morning. I feel really bad for the folks out there. We have been noticing this crash for at least the past few hours or so, probably going down to about 4 hours of closely monitoring what's going on once again over on the west side. So here's what we're looking at here. We have a really big crash involving two semis on 70 eastbound just past Hilliard Rome Road. All lanes still closed this morning. That's where we're noticing those purple lanes here. That just indicates that those lane restrictions are still in place. No one is able to get past this area. We do have a couple of details I do want to mention. Now, before all morning long, we've been showing you some ODOT cameras showing you exactly what the crash site is looking like. Right now, we can unfortunately not do that. Our server is down, so we do not have live looks at the scene. We do apologize for that. But I do want to go ahead and give you some details in terms of what the crash, what we learned about the crash, really. So once again, two semis are involved. This all happened just after 7 o'clock this morning. The two semis ended up crashing over in this area. One of them was carrying car batteries. So what happened is that those car batteries ended up leaking out on the interstate. Also with the collision, we have some diesel fuel that ended up leaking as well. So mixing that in with the car batteries, it was definitely a cause for concern out there. We do know one person was taken to the hospital. Still this morning, we are not sure about their condition. Hopefully they are doing okay though. But as I mentioned, we have a level 1 hazmat situation. So that just indicates that we have a minimum risk out there. But again, mixing that in with car batteries, it's looking pretty dicey out there. As I've been mentioning before, we've been taking ODOT cams. We can't show that right now. We do apologize. But what we've been noticing is that we still have a lot of first responders on scene. We have those semis obviously involved. It takes a little bit for tow trucks to get those folks out there. And of course, it all happened kind of in the central lane of 70 eastbound. So not on a shoulder or anything. So that just caused more issues to clean up there. So do note that we are still following this crash here. Again, all lanes completely closed in this direction. So this is a big impact when it comes to your early morning commute. I want to show you exactly what we're talking about when it comes to this portion of 70 eastbound. We're talking 70 and 270, this intersection all the way down on the west side towards West Jefferson by that ongoing construction site. That's an already busy area. We mentioned it all morning long on the morning show because it just gets a little restricted out there. We're down to 2 lanes in that area alone. Mix that in with a big crash, a big semi crash like this one. It's just not looking really good for an early Tuesday morning commute. As I mentioned here, a big portion of it closed. So 70 and 270, that intersection, as I mentioned before, all the way to basically State Route 142. This is the portion that we're noticing that is completely closed right now. So a lot of people are being impacted this morning. I want to go ahead and tell you about what we're noticing out there. So the folks that were stuck in this area right before those semis, they have since left the scene. They were diverted off into that 70 westbound direction and off towards the Hilliard Rome Road. That's where a lot of people were taking that detour. But if you're heading still towards that area, as I mentioned, the road's still closed this morning. So I want to go ahead and give you this detour. This will definitely be important if you're heading towards the downtown area. Obviously, if you're taking 70 eastbound, hop off of State Route 142 southbound. You want to use that instead. Continue that south over to Broad Street. That will get you to 270 northbound eventually. You can take that northbound or southbound depending on where you want to go. You can even take that northbound, then go on 70 back on the eastbound direction, or really Broad Street. If you want to head downtown, as I mentioned, it's just easier to take 40 all the way to the scene there. So that is the main focus here. Unfortunately, though, we have a lot of people taking this route because this is the best route for you here. You can notice, especially over by Prairie Township, you can notice a lot of that congestion, those different colors there. Just a lot of people on the road taking this route. So do be mindful, pack that patience. Again, 70 eastbound, a big portion of it still closed after 2 semis crash just after 7 o'clock this morning. Crews call it a long-term closure. It will be, they will be on scene really all throughout the morning this morning. So again, just want to make sure you are well aware of this detour. Broad Street will be your best friend. As I mentioned, crews will be on scene for at least the next few hours or so. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. This ends our streamcast here. And of course, you can follow us on 10tv.com for the very latest details when it comes to this crash, as well as more details coming up on 10TV News at noon.